What's up, guys? Lore here with another round of Heart of the Swarm replay roulette. Random replays that I find on drop.sc and decide to cast for you just to see what the random denizens of the internet are up to in the Heart of the Swarm beta. Down here on the southeast position here on Acheron Waste as the red Zerg, we have Fawxkitteh. Fawxkitteh. Alright. And up here in the northwest corner as the blue Terran, we have Caedicus. Caedicus? I think that's actually pronounced Caedicus. I'm going to call him Caedicus because the other dude has a cat name, and that's kind of funny to me. Alright, so, Acheron Waste. We have a natural expansion right here. Pretty straightforward. Just come down this ramp. There's a natural expansion. It does have a pretty wide ramp out to the rest of the area, but if you destroy these destructible rocks and destroy this collapsible rock tower, you do have a relatively easily defended third here. And in fact, even without that collapsible rock tower destroyed, it's still relatively easy to defend because this is a very, very small choke. You can wall that in with structures if you need to. Do all sorts of stuff. So you do have three relatively easy to take bases. However, this fourth up over here, this is a bit of a walk. I mean, it's close by air, obviously, and a lot of the defense, like you could put like spore crawlers or something along this area, and they would cover at least a portion of both bases. But it is a long walk by ground. You got to go all the way around up over there. Can do a little bit of ring around the rosy from there, and then after that, like, where do you take your fifth base? Do you come like all the way up around over this direction and take your fifth up over here? Do you come clear down over here and take your fifth? So we tend to see a lot of... We do see late game play on Acheron Waste, but it tends to be very aggressive games where both players are trying to win earlier on because there isn't really a good long-term plan for the fifth and sixth bases. So usually want to try and win in the mid-game. So let's see what both of these players are up to. Caedicus, no gas just yet. Just getting up his barracks. I wonder if he's going to build... Yeah, just going to pop out a Marine out of that barracks. There's no scouting drone coming out from Fawxkitteh. I'm looking at the minimap. I don't see a scouting drone anywhere just yet. So he's going to get up that command center, and I imagine we will be seeing... Yeah, we're going to be seeing an expansion drop down right over here for Caedicus. So just a real nice one-rack expand, or maybe not. No, he's decided to come up over here and drop this supply depot instead. Alright, so that's an interesting plan. Looks like he's going to send out another SCV to possibly make that expansion. He is floating a lot of minerals, so I imagine we'll see an expansion soon. Over here, we do have this drone coming out for Fawxkitteh, and looks like he's going to go ahead and get his expansion up. Meanwhile, we do have one gas and a spawning pool. I'm not sure what the timings on those were. Apologies, I wasn't checking. But just one gas, 3 workers in it, spawning pool, expansion. Very, very normal looking openers from both players. If it's a little bit wonky coming out of Caedicus up over here. He decided actually to build that command center inside his base too. I'm not sure if he just felt a little bit under pressure. In fact, that's actually kind of far too. He could have built that down over here and it would have had a little bit less distance to fly. So I feel like Caedicus isn't... I'm not gonna say he's bad. He's doing things that make sense, but he's not he's not putting as much thought as you might expect into his play as you would expect if he was a top level player. So, like, just some of his positioning is a little bit weird. And this bunker going down, he scouted a fast expansion with nothing crazy coming out of his opponent. So I don't know why he felt that bunker is necessary either. There's 4 Zerglings out for Fawxkitteh, but these 4 Marines would more than be able to handle that without the bunker even there. So we may be seeing a lower level game here, maybe around the gold platinum level. I'm not sure. Just a little bit of lag there for a second. Just not top tier play, which is interesting. It's great, actually, fantastic. I'm really curious to see how the mid tier players are really taking to the Heart of the Swarm beta and what they're actually up to. So already have a layer up for Fawxkitteh, Fawxkitteh, and an infestation pit on the way. So it looks like he's going for very, very fast infestors. Wow, only 5 minutes 45 seconds into the game and already going after that. No sort of early aggression out of him whatsoever. Just wants them infestors out. Now infestors have been nerfed. There was a nerf on Wings of Liberty, but there was a much more substantial nerf. I'm pretty sure, actually. I actually come to think of it, I'm not sure exactly what the Wings of Liberty nerf ended up being because I haven't been paying as close attention to Wings of Liberty as I have Heart of the Swarm lately. But I know that now infestors in the Heart of the Swarm beta, I believe the damage has been lowered a little bit on the fungal growth. Excuse me. It's also now a projectile, so you have to aim it and land it at the right spot. So if you're up against a moving target, for example, or even a non-moving target that you expect to move, you have to put it at the right point. It's very similar to how it was way back when in the original StarCraft 2 beta. This Marine is screwed, or maybe he's totally fine. No, there we go. Now he's screwed. He's going to come over here, spot that expansion is up. I'm not sure actually if he already knew it was there or not, but he will spot that expansion. And now it looks like this SCV is screwed as well. So that's going to cut down a whole bunch of the vision for Caedicus, and it's going to give Fawxkitteh a whole bunch of vision of the center of the map. And ooh, excuse me, I was completely and totally mistaken on where he was going. I actually forgot that the infestation pit is the necessary structure for swarm hosts. So he's actually going straight to swarm hosts, and we may see swarm hosts have been really hard for players to deal with in the beta so far. Ooh, nice. A couple of, Hellions out over here dealing with these Zerglings, chasing them back a little bit. But they're going to run directly into these swarm hosts if he's not careful. In fact, he is going to come right up in here, try to do some damage. There's a couple of queens there, but they will chase those off, and off they go. And now there's a scan going down over here. Did he? No, he did not spot the swarm hosts were out. He will see the infestation pit, fortunately for him. But all these drones are about to pop, and Fawxkitteh is in great shape right now in terms of economy. I'm curious what Caedicus is up to. He's doing alright, I suppose. A little bit behind in the worker count. If we check the units tab, yeah, 40 drones to 35 SCVs. Now, obviously, the Terran player has access to mules, so that will be made up a little bit, but it's still nice to have plenty of workers. This is interesting. He's actually sending out all three of these swarm hosts by themselves out here in the middle of the map. That can be very dangerous if you were run into a contingent of Marines or something. And can he see them over there? Wow, he just barely cannot see them right there. And this is, of course, controlled by Fawxkitteh. He will be able to see them now as they come into play. Oh, no. A Banshee is out for Caedicus. So these swarm hosts may just be screwed. That one's going to take a whole bunch of damage. They are going to burrow to try and avoid taking extra damage. I don't believe that Locusts can shoot up. I think there may have been a point where they could, but that no longer is the case, and hasn't been for a while. But he's going to try and put down, anyway, he does actually scan to kill that. Not enough time to kill this other one. Wow, he actually decides to lift it. He's offering up the sacrificial swarm host there. Another scan goes down, he will be able to kill that. This bunker and that Hellion up over there is making short work of all the Locusts that get sent in here. So he really just has this one swarm host spawning these two Locusts. And this Banshee's just sort of going to town. Banshee's already got 4 kills, 5 kills now. He has managed to cancel that. Ooh, did not cancel the command center. So that's a bit of a mistake there on Caedicus' part, losing a whole bunch of minerals for no reason. That's out 400 minerals for nothing. Could have just been the, 325, I believe. If you, well, he's actually going to lose that Hellion there, too. Excuse me. He's going to just go ahead and try and build another one. He needs to get rid of this swarm host, because even though obviously it's just 2 Locusts that are spawning at a time, it can still do a ton of damage. Looks like we had a little bit of aggression going on down here with these couple of Hellions, but they were chased off, and we're not able to do too much damage. And now we do have these infestors out, so I'm really excited to see the new fungal growth in action. They do have enough energy for it. Looks like he did finish that energy upgrade appropriately. But yeah, even though the swarm, the Locusts are getting killed all the time, it's still free damage. Any damage that they do costs Fawxkitteh nothing. So we'll see if this little hand. This is a very small force overall. The 3 infestors can mean some damage, but I guess he's actually not able to do too much damage with those. But otherwise, it's actually a relatively small force. And behind this, I'm curious what he's up to. He's actually involving Burrow. Did he not have Burrow before? He did not have Burrow before, which is really interesting because it means Swarm Hosts can burrow without the upgrade, which I didn't actually know before. I guess that makes sense, but I just didn't know that before. And otherwise, he's just getting up a 3rd hatchery at this position down. I'm going to watch this for a second, but if you look on the minimap down there, that 3rd base position, he is getting a hatchery up over there. What is... Oh, excuse me. I thought those were just a whole bunch of Locusts there for a second. There were a bunch of infested Terrans in there. Has now managed to finish this 3rd base, but he's still under siege from more and more swarm hosts. Excuse me. There's now 4 swarm hosts outside his base here. And the swarm host is a unit that's really seen, I would say, an excessive amount of use so far in the Heart of the Swarm beta. I'm not sure if that's just something that opponents need to figure out how to deal with them better just yet, because obviously, I mean, he could make a Raven and float him over there, And with these Banshees, in fact, there is the Raven right now. So with this Raven out, he should be able to oh, there was a fungal growth that went down there and actually did manage to kill one of those Banshees. I didn't get a chance to see the projectile. Hopefully you guys noticed it when it happened. Well, lots of Zerglings streaming up over here now, too, so he should be seeing an attack here in a moment. He finished the Raven, just decided not to send it down over there with those Infestors in place. I imagine that's probably why. He's just a little bit worried about getting caught by those fungal growths. Even if it does have a projectile now, it is still something that can be landed. So he's just sort of taking extra damage from these locusts. He needs to get over there in a hurry, though, and deal with this. Now he's going to siege up a couple tanks over here. Siege tanks in the past have been pretty good at that, but never mind. Bunch of Zerglings coming in. You're going to take out one of those siege tanks right away. Another one will be injured, but will not fall. And that was a whole bunch of Zerglings lost for one siege tank. I don't really feel like that was an effective use there. And siege tanks in the past have been pretty good at just sort of putting a damper on at least the damage done by this. And wow, there goes the fungal growth and a whole bunch of infested Terrans coming out, which will be able to do some damage, and he may be able to clean this up. No, he is going to escape. Does lose one Banshee in the midst of that. Another one very low, but will not take any further damage. We'll be able to repair those up. Has plenty of SCVs over there to be able to do that repairing. And yeah, so this handful of Infestors with these Swarm Hosts here is actually being quite effective for Fawxkitteh at the moment, kind of shutting down anything that he can really do. Just decided to drop down an auto turret. That didn't do too much. And now with the Raven over here, he can spot these couple of Swarm Hosts and will finally be able to break this siege. But he loses a lot in the process. Lost a couple of Hellions in there. I believe there was a siege tank down in there for some reason that he lost. And did he lose the Raven? No, the Raven is still alive. So he's still in good shape that direction. And this is interesting. Hydralisks now out in play. The Hydralisks are much stronger in Heart of the Swarm. They move faster and generally just a better all-around unit. But I haven't really seen people using them too much just yet. Like, we've seen a little bit of old school, like, beta style Roach Hydra play. Look how fast they are on the creep. We've seen a little bit of old school Roach Hydra play before, and this is nice. Now I feel like this creep could be a little bit farther than it is, but he's now going to spread it out. But yeah, we've seen a bunch of old school Roach Hydra play from time to time, but never just Hydras by themselves. And in fact, I don't even know if he has a Roach Warren anywhere. I can check these handy dandy new structures tab, and no, he does not. So that is an interesting choice. I'm going to be curious to see how this works out for him. If he just goes for a very, very squishy army like this, it could be something that Hellions would be very, very good against. Possibly even the Battle Hellions. Excuse me, I guess they're called Hellbats now. But whatever. Those guys, they make fire happen. They're pretty good. Could see that happening. And this is a strange choice, I think. I mean, obviously he wants to defend this base, but with his army that he has right now, with the exception of the Hydralisks, who are, I mean, they're faster, but they're still kind of slow off a creep. If he can get the creep spread over here, he did decide to knock down those rocks also, which I don't know what this bunch of drones is doing over here. He's going to knock down those rocks now to allow them to leave. Kind of important that you have units able to leave your production facilities. That's useful. But once he gets that creep in place, I kind of feel like this number of spine crawlers over here is overkill. If this was up at this base, for example, I think that would make more sense. But down here, not really that important to have that much in the way of trying to spot where that scan went down. Down here in the main base, not really that important. Does spot the Ultralisk Cavern, which is good to see with that scan. And he has 7 Vipers in production now as well. Viper's another unit that's just started to come into play. This is cool. I don't know if you guys have seen this before. I pointed it out on a refinery before, but since this Overlord is crapping creep all over this command center, it's just covered in crap. That's what a command center with creep on it looks like, guys. It's been walking around in some poop. But yeah, the Viper is another unit that we've been seeing start to really be, I guess realized is a good word, by Zerg players. I started to realize just how good these guys can actually be. I feel like this might be a few too many of them, the 7 Vipers out. They do have the Blinding Cloud ability, which is really good against bio. It's really good against tanks. Really good against most everything Terran, to be honest. It reduces the reduces the attack range of ground units underneath it to melee range, which I believe is 2 for most units. Makes it very, very hard to actually to get it. You can just drop that down on a bunch of units. It's a very, very effective and underrated ability, I think. More often we see them used for Abduct, and this is a nice response to that whole bunch of... It actually goes right over top of some infestors that are up to some sneaky stuff. But this is a lot of these guys. Now, they're going to have trouble with those... with the Ultralisk, obviously, so you may want to just back up out of there. But against the Hydras and against the... where did those guys go? Down here. Against the Hydras and against the Zerglings, those Hellions will be very, very effective. Looks like he's probably a little bit distracted over here. A little bit of Banshee harassment going on at this base. Gonna go ahead and get chased out of there by these Spore Crawlers. But up over here, there we go. Whole bunch of infested Terrans. This is a Planetary Fortress warping in, but it is not in yet. Now it's active. But will he be able to, if he can get the repair going, he may be able to save this against these infested Terrans. There goes the repair. Planetary Fortress is still falling in damage. No, okay, now it's starting to stabilize. And with these Hellions over here, he will be able to save this Planetary Fortress. I feel like if he had attacked with those just a little bit earlier, he should have been able to see that the... Excuse me, that the Planetary Fortress was being warped in. And should have been able to realize that he only had a limited amount of time to get that out there. I feel like he could have killed that easily and shut that base down. What? Why is there a hatchery here? There's... What? What? What are you doing, Fawxkitteh? What are you doing? Looks like a few more infested Terrans dropping down over here. You're just going to go ahead. He's actually positioned them just outside of the Planetary Fortress range, which is nice. He's going to be able to just sort of harass. He's actually going to kill a mule here, it looks like. Oh, he's using the SCVs to repair the mule. That was a very nice and tricky little play there out of Caedicus. I like that quite a bit. No, there's that abductability. Grabbing a Thor. Hello. Nice little snack. There's another one for you. Snack on some of those Thors. Nom 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 nom. Delicious. They're actually pulling him up onto the high ground, which doesn't work out too well for him because... it just walks away. There's nothing that can quite kill him. I feel like those Hydras could have finished him off. But man, I love that ability. That's such a cool ability to watch happen. Looks like he's coming in here again. A few Hellions coming in there trying to barbecue some of those Hydralisks. Not a good time to use the abductability against one Hellion. I suppose he could slowly pick him apart. And he's got enough Vipers that he should be able to. Like, look at all the energy on these things. That is a lot of energy on all those Vipers. He should theoretically be able to just be grabbing those guys left and right and killing them off. And I would love to actually see him doing that right now. Uh-oh, we got a... Oh, excuse me. I thought that was going to be a missile turret, but it's just a supply depot. Never mind. What is going on with this hatchery? And what is going on with this Banshee? Just sort of hanging out right here. There's Hydralisk 2 feet away. They can see him because it's right over the hatchery. They don't care. It's like, whatever. Don't actually care about that Banshee over there. That's kind of silly. Do have... Oh, are they going to see him finally? No, he moved him away. Oh, dear. Alright, a little bit more attack action going on over here. Blinding Cloud dropping down, making it so that the siege tanks cannot attack. Very nice use of that Blinding Cloud ability. He's going to lose a couple of these Vipers, maybe? Wow, no, actually doesn't lose any of those Vipers. Blinding Cloud's going down like crazy. The siege tanks are being forced to pick up and back off, and that is how Zerg breaks a siege, ladies and gentlemen. Pulling the Thors back now at this point. Should be able to kill that one. Gonna get another one here. Pulls the Viper, and that Viper exploded and went flying everywhere. Man, I love me... So, or excuse me, pulls the... Raven. The Vipers pulled the Raven. I love this Viper so much. Now, he's not gonna... His units are very, very low on health. I feel like as soon as some more units pop out for Caedicus, he will be able to stabilize here. And in fact, he's got battle cruisers in production somewhere. There's one up over there. Not sure if any more have popped out yet. These couple of Thors, since these guys are so low, should be able to finish this off. If they were all in full health, then that might have gone differently. Maybe. Might have been able to kill one of them first. But man, that was cool to see. The Vipers just pulling things out of the way, dropping the Blinding Cloud. Zerg is looking really, really strong in the Heart of the Swarm beta right now, guys. I'm going to be honest. They have so many amazing options to deal with things. It's really, really cool to see. Maybe a little bit unbalanced, time will tell, but still very, very cool to see. So one minor thing I want to point out about the Ultralisk is that they have actually removed the Burrow Charge ability that the Ultralisk had. So that's one minor nerf to Zerg. I feel like Burrow Charge wasn't as good as it kind of might have seemed, but they just no longer have it. No more Ultras zooming across underground and then popping up underneath things. Sad to say. Alright, so let's see what Caedicus is up to here. I want to check the units tab and see how they're doing overall. Caedicus still has the lead in workers, but man, that is a hefty looking ground army. It's not a huge ground army overall. It's a, what is that, 8 Ultralists, and it looks like, see, that'd be 16, 19 Hydras there. But with these Vipers in there, the Hydralists, like, being able to, basically the Blinding Cloud ends up being a more effective point defense drone because it doesn't run out. I mean, obviously the time runs out, but it's not like it only is active for a couple of seconds and then gone. Nice, sending up something up over there. But he has now bust through over here. He's going to take down that orbital command that was just sitting there for some reason. Kills another Viper, excuse me, kills another Raven, pulling the battle cruisers over top of the mass of Hydralists over here. And Fawxkitteh is just sort of ripping Caedicus apart at this point. The battlecruiser are doing a bunch of damage, but they've got to be able to kill off these Ultras too. And the Ultras are, they should eventually be cleaned up, but he's just doing so much damage with this. And in fact, there's enough Hydras still here. Looked like a wave of reinforcements came in that he may be able to just finish it right here. So much damage going out and everything. Things getting yanked out of position by those Vipers. The Vipers still have plenty of energy left. They're going to go ahead and back off for just a second while they're actually leaving entirely, heading way down over here. Doesn't want them up over there anymore, so this should get cleaned up. He's going to eventually kill off these last couple of Hydras over here, and then the battlecruiser will obviously be able to kill off the rest of that, but there's just so much going on. He's now over here popping out some infested Terrans, as well as these couple of Ultras that are still over here. Should be able to kill this base. Down go all this repairing SCVs. May lose an Ultra, but no, it doesn't matter. Caedicus just goes ahead and calls GG, and that is the end of that game. So, turns out Zerg can still win games even without Swarm Hosts. Obviously, he used a couple of them early on, was doing a little bit of pressure down over here, and sending them up in here, but the Viper, man, is such a cool unit, and it's so good too. That Blinding Cloud plus the abductability, and the other thing that I didn't even point out. Let me see if I can find them floating around over here somewhere. I can't actually find them at the moment, but they do have a Devour ability similar to the well, the Devourer from Brood War, where they can actually eat a nearby. How does that actually... Oh, there they are. I had them selected the whole time, too. I'm retarded. Consume. Targets friendly structure and consumes 200 life over 20 seconds, converting the damage dealt into 50 energy. So they can actually... That's probably why he sent them back, actually, at that point. And that may have been what this forward hatchery was all about, too. He's just giving something out on the map. In fact, how much? These have 300 health. So you could even just uproot a few spine crawlers, root them out over there, and consume energy off of them to get the Viper energy back. So yeah, Vipers are seeming really, really strong right now, guys. I'm honestly not sure what Caedicus could have done better in that matchup. Probably the battlecruiser tech switch didn't really make a whole lot of sense, I suppose. But I'm not sure what else he could have done to really defeat that. Maybe he had more Vikings out. Maybe he had a stronger bio army. I'm really not sure. Hopefully we will find out as time goes on, as the Heart of the Swarm beta continues, how to actually respond to these new threats that the Zerg army has. But for now, I'm going to wrap this up. GG's to both players. My name is Lore, and I will see you in the next match.